Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the international edition of Future Hacker. This is your host, Maria Taide, and today we are talking to Yogita Ajgaonkar. She's the CEO and founder of the startup Tiwiw. She's also the growth advisor of startups and the co-founder and board member of iRealities, a digital communication and entertainment company based in India. She worked in telecom for 20 years and led various global positions, including market development for Middle East region. Hi, Yogita, it's great to have you today. How are you doing?
Hi, Maria. I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me here. I'm very delighted to be with you and part of your show.
Thank you so much, and we're really excited to have you here as well. So, Yogita, you've been specializing yourself in the e-retail industry with the company you founded. And as we all know, there have been some drastic changes in the way consumer purchases after COVID-19. And just like Brazil, India faces a lot of infrastructure challenges when it comes to having broad access from population to the internet and new technologies. What were the main changes people faced during these times? How was the access to technologies overcome? And how do you see as the future of consumerism and the retail industry in general?
The COVID-19 pandemic is having a profound impact on consumer lives. What we see globally and even in India, consumers are radically changing their lives because of social distancing, working from home, virtual classroom, and restricted travel is a new normal, and it is going to be part of the new lifestyle for a longer duration. So consumer behavior is driven by their new personal situation. With job loss, changes in income, work from home, and spare time, their consumption pattern and choice of products are changing. They are shopping with great awareness of health, cost, and environment. As the lockdown situation eased up in India, we saw many favoring locally sourced products, especially from the neighborhood stores. Overall, consumers are more mindful than ever about what they are buying, and it's a mindset that's going to stay. India's retail market is still dominated by unorganized retail. Small stores owned by a single person and family account for 90 to 93% of the market in comparison with matured economies. With the sudden nationwide lockdown and only few shops opened, people had to wait in queues for essential supplies. Initial phase, e-com operations were restricted to just groceries, but e-commerce players witnessed huge demand for groceries supplies. However, deliveries could not be done in many areas as they were containment zone. So that was the challenge. Though there was a demand, they could not fulfill it. With the sudden lockdown, internet connection became a major source of entertainment, connection to the outside world, access to office collaboration tools, and for learning and acquiring new skills. This led to massive surge in the use of internet across India. Initially, there were hiccups as none of the service providers were ready for this situation and sudden surge in traffic. With the help of satellite communication, the operators could narrow the gap and connect to rural India. But certainly, this pandemic has accelerated the digital transformation. Many organizations that had digitization in their plan have accelerated the rollout, starting with consumer touchpoints.
It seems that as much as each country has its specificities, it seems that the challenges were pretty much similar to everyone, right? But at least we got this other side that people got more mindful about their purchases, and the prioritization of local shops, I guess, is something that we can take out as a positive things as well. And as we know, it's been a tough time for so many sectors in retail when, coming back to the retail world, as the consumption has drastically decreased, such as clothing, apparel, anything related to travel, naturally. According to a research in Brazil, more than half of people are purchasing less due to the economic scenario. Some other sectors, like home appliances due to the home office, entertainment and gaming, just some examples, they had increasing revenue. But now we are living in this, mixed scenario in which some people are still avoiding going out, while others are trying to get back to their normal lives. So during that phase, which sectors do you see growing the most? And where would you personally bet your coins within the retail industry?
Maria, keeping the economic ramifications aside, it was the perfect break that for the fast-paced life needed. We are seeing more or less similar trend in India. Growth in groceries, personal care, home improvement, education, and health and well-being. People are spending time on home improvements and are embarking on new skills or online education. Each case, the vast majority expect to continue with these activities for some time now. With restriction, many people have realized that they were spending too much of their income on on luxury goods and something which was not required. So they are very mindful on spending their income now, and most of the spend we are seeing, and we will continue to see, I guess, in personal care, health and well-being, and education.
Yes, makes a lot of sense to me. Can you tell us how India overcame the lack of access to online payments and credit cards and bank accounts, and was actually able to use it to online retail? There are actually phone apps in which payment is made available even for people that are completely out of the grid, right? So how does it work?
See, the success of any digital payments ecosystem depends on a combination of factors. Over the last few years or so, we have seen tremendous growth in digital payment, and it was all possible because of creative solutions by entrepreneurs, government regulations, access to infrastructure, improved security method for digital payment. The past decade, we have witnessed several innovations in retail payments in India. Initial days of e-commerce in India, it was a challenge. E-com companies had the challenge as there was no popularity to the concept of buying something online and using your credit card. And most of the economy was cash-based, and it still is. What genius entrepreneurs came out with is the concept called cash on delivery, which we call COD, and it solved two problems. One, consumer got to see and feel the products in hand before they made the payment. That covered the trust deficit issue. And the second was payment was done through their preferred mode, that's cash. This helped in building the habit of ordering online, not just for commodities, but also for food deliveries. They started in this way and gradually shifted to digital payment. Infrastructure-wise, the growth has been tremendous over last 6 years, especially with reference to the availability of mobile phone. We have around 1.12 billion mobile phone subscribers in India, and 400 million odd have smartphones. So mobile phones are rapidly becoming like personal electronic devices. And with the increased in penetration of 3G and 4G, we could reach more rural part of India, and they are also online now. India's smartphone revolution has seen an explosion in digital payment options. A number of innovations we have seen in last few years, like e-wallet, e-money, and that was all possible because of innovative technology like near-field communication, which is NFC, and quick response codes. So in NFC, even if you are off the grid, at least one party has to be connected to the internet. So as a user, if you are off grid, if your merchant is connected to the internet, you can hold your NFC device next to the merchant's NFC device and you can do the transaction. So that worked really well. As far as credit card payment is concerned, the use of credit card is relatively low compared to other developed countries. That is because, the reason for low credit card usage is because of one, demand, where Indian households are traditionally oriented towards saving. B, supply side, where majority of the labor force in unorganized sector, so it is a issue for the card companies to take higher credit risk, and the Indian ethos to pay for goods and services on purchase instead of running up credit lines. The real trigger for the digital payment growth was demonetization decision by government in November 2016, which forced people to move into digital. And on top of it, government went extra mile to make the payments more secure by introducing new methods. Like we have 2D secure credit and debit card in India, and Indian payment system are considered to be more efficient, safe, and secure now.
Thanks for such a great background, Yogita. And that's actually a good example of how countries can adapt to new technologies. Sometimes you just need to give some steps back to help adoption to then go ahead with the full solution, right? Another example would be how Uber started here in Brazil, at least, with just credit card. And then they had at some point to allow the use of cash to also the increase adoption and make it more available to people. So moving on, we interviewed here in our podcast Richard Steele regarding the book he just launched, which is The Elevated Economics. He discusses the shift in the consumer behavior and how the new generation will be more focused on companies that make a positive impact in the world. So the ESG has been constantly discussed in the financial sector. It's now all about being socially responsible, sustainable, and more community focused. Even market leaders such as Amazon and Walmart are publicizing their goals of becoming carbon free and use a 100% renewable energy by 2040. Do you also see this trend in India? And how far do you think we are from this reality? And then globally, right? So which steps should the retail industry be taking to address this new consumer profile?
Great question, Maria. Over last 2 centuries, through the industrialization, farming to manufacturing, world drastically changed and kept on changing. So priorities of the previous generations were adapting to this change and building the future. In that situation, the focus was on building and hence the sustainability took a backseat. The present generation is more or less in economic stability, and hence their priorities are more evolved than the earlier generations. They are more aware of the problems of the world like global warming, sustainability issues, etc. As far as the popularity of the sustainable products and consumer buying in big number, we need to remember this. When we buy a product, as my favorite Harvard professor Clayton Christensen stated in his job theory, we hire the service of a product to do a specific job for us. If while doing our job, the product also takes care of sustainability issues, people will prefer that. But if brands think that they can just talk about social and environmental issues without focusing on the job to be done, then consumer may not buy it. India has a high percentage of younger population, and as they grow older and earn more, they are becoming more and more influential as consumers. Especially the millennials and Gen Z appear increasingly concerned about ESG issues. I think they will have a significant impact on the products in the future.
And so, Yogita, what about the use of technology in this sector? Artificial intelligence, for example, which I love bringing up in all interviews. The use of augmented reality and virtual reality. There are also all the wearable sectors. So what do you think are the trends that you see more spread in a short-term period? And how do you see the future of retail taking ownership of those technologies?
AI, VR and AR, they sound very cool. They are going to change the way we search, discover and shop for products in the future. AI has certainly transformed the customer and retail buying journey as we see from the data available. People are searching for what to buy before they go to the physical store. So the most effective trends, what I see is computer vision, image recognition, online expert advice, which we call bots or avatars. As far as computer vision is concerned, it is completely changing the customer experience, both in physical stores and online. For example, Amazon Go store, right? Where payment boxes do not exist. Items are scanned and customers are billed through their Amazon account using computer vision, deep learning, and sensor fusion. Through in-store cameras and AI, companies can monitor the performance of their products on the shelves and conduct analysis using machine learning. In addition, cameras can help physical store better understand the customer experience. Is the store floor plan optimized? Do the customers spend more time on one area of the shop compared to other one? Do these patterns correlate with the sales conversion data? Retail stores are also using image recognition to make it easier for customer to find the products. For example, Target used this approach in collaboration with Pinterest. Using Pinterest lenses, customers can upload the images of any product they would like to buy, and the app recommends products which are similar or available in the Target. Also, the bots or wearables, they can enhance the experience with the combination of AI, Many shops, they can go for their own app. So as soon as the customer enters the store, they can connect to that app, which works like a bot. And after receiving instruction for a specific store item, bot can guide the user exactly where to go, without wasting time. With the AI, they can also alert the sales rep to, pre-populate the shelves if the items are going low on inventory. So that will actually enhance the customer experience. But as far as brands and organization using AI concerned, they are using it in some way now. But what I see is they are struggling to take it beyond pilot or using it in silos. For example, either they are using at customer touchpoint for better product experience, or training, personalized shopping experience, or optimizing the supply chain. But they can actually maximize the value and transform their business at scale if they adopt AI across the retail function and processes.
That's all great stuff, Yogita. I think that when we talk about all those new technologies and how they can be used to this industry, to the retail industry, there's so many possibilities to explore with the already existing technologies. Imagine what's still to come, right? So this is the end of our first episode, but stay tuned, everybody. We are going to continue on the second episode of the international edition of Future Hacker with Yogita. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Maria.
Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.